Welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host Isaiah, and in this episode we are going to remove the rat nest of wiring from the yellow Quest, and we're going to start running our new wire and wire harness. So stay tuned, it's going to be a long one, so let's knock it out. Okay, whoa, this is very interesting in here. Oh God. All right, so it's got a rich lane thing. That's interesting. And then a programmer of some kind. Interesting again. Then we got all of this. Some extra relays, which are not completely connected. What else? All right, this looks more familiar. This looks like it's a wideband. Okay, so this is something we'll keep and tuck away neatly. Okay, so both of these are that, and then so there's radio stuff here that I'm not going to be messing with, at least not right now. Okay, no more surprises. Okay. And then over here, you see they spied it into a lot of the original harness, which is not good. Got wires coming out, two factory plugs, which technically isn't connected to anything. Then we got grounds. Okay, so let's start by taking out all of this, but anyway, so yeah, let's start by taking out all of this. The only thing I do want to keep is the boost controller here, and that should be it. So I gotta make sure I don't pull that out, but yes, so start pulling this from the front, feed this through, and I'll be back. Okay, so after cutting and slicing and dicing wires, for right now at least, this is the only wires I need to have in here, which is the boost controller. Let me see. Which is a thin black wire right there, the power wire, of course, and then this vacuum line for the boost controller, and that's it. This wire here is cut. I don't know who did it, but this is not going to be in use either, so we're gonna leave that like that, and we're gonna clean all of the wires from the inside. So if we move to the inside, this is just a glimpse of some of what I cut out of the car. And already it's looking a lot more manageable. Let me show you guys what I've discovered. Okay, so in this mayhem, this wire is the power and ground for the wideband which is right there. Then, let's see, we have to add power to the boost controller right here. And these two wires, I believe, go to the fuel pump. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna open this up and double check, but there's power wires coming straight from here, and I think these are the power wires that when you're cranking, it still gives you consistent power instead of cutting power. So there's that. This is the wires for the boost controller, including the vacuum for the boost controller. And this is wideband. This is the harness for the boost controller. This one and this one go to this box. And this one, which seems a little melted, I don't know if you can see that. And those are not going to be in use anymore. So both of these are going to come out, and we are going to T-pipe one of these lines, depending on where I want to run the vacuum. I think I'm going to run a separate one for the new computer system, something directly from the manifold that might make things a little bit simpler. But yeah, so this is what we have in here. And I'm going to remove this one and this one. So I will be back. Okay, so here's our test light. That's our ground connected to this. And now with the car in the on position, we're going to probe to see if this one has power. And it does. Let's try this one here. And it does. So what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna hold the start in start position, and we're gonna probe again to see if one or both of these have power in that position. So the starter quit, so we got another starter that we're going to be putting in at a later time, but hold on, make sure she's in neutral. Okay, so we need to probe both of these in the start position and take it from there. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I tested these and it seems like both of them have power in the start position, which is exactly what we need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to connect the wideband onto that one, and also the boost controller, so that'll always have the proper power. And I'm gonna connect the fuel pump to the relay from the computer, but the computer is gonna get the power from here. And heck yeah, we should be good to go. So let me see. I think I'm gonna connect the first two to this one, which they don't require as much amperage, so that'll be good. And then I'm gonna connect the computer to its own and take it from there. But we haven't gotten to the computer part yet, but we definitely will. So let me put these two items together and we should be good to go. Okay, so I know this still looks like a little wiring nightmare, but let me explain this to you the best way I can, and we'll take it from there. So the boost controller, which is this wiring harness, is connected to power and ground via the ignition switch. So as soon as the key is in the on position, you have power. Also, the wideband, which is this harness, has power and ground, which is connected to the same ignition switch. So those two items, which is this one and this one, should turn on with the ignition in the on position. So That's one. That's two. Mission accomplished. Now, we have to move on to the next thing, which is hooking up the new harness to the fuel pump. This is constant power from the battery. And then this is ignition switch. This one's going to go to the new computer. So, all of this stuff is going to get tucked neatly away, of course, after it's straightened up and wrapped, of course, and taken from there. So, let's start with that. Okay, let's grab that new harness. Okay, here's our new wiring harness. We are going to wrap this whole harness and loom it in one complete piece and take it from there. Now, I'm going to unbox or unwrap this, and you're going to see that each label or each wire is labeled, which makes it very easy to connect every single thing. So let me open this and we'll take a look at it. Excuse the wind. It's definitely hot in Florida. Okay, so it comes with a fuse. Okay. And this is for the constant power going to the computer. Then here's the relay for the fuel. Here's the vacuum line that it comes with. This is the whole engine harness. And then last but not least, this is for the ignition system to receive reference, that being RPM signal, which we only need the red wire. The rest of those will not be needed. Okay, so simple enough. This is a fuel-only system. That's what I run on 99.99% of my cars except one. So we are going to begin by wrapping this harness and running the vacuum line and running the RPM signal line. So, location of the computer, which is another important part, which I'm thinking about putting it in the glove box, just so, you know, it's a little more hidden, not something that'll be kicked or stepped on type situation. So I'm going to mount this one in the glove box and take it from there. All right, so I wrapped up the harness and I used painter tape for this side to get it through the firewall through here. So we are going to take our new harness and run it right where the power cable is, which from here you definitely can't see it, but I promise you it's there. We'll take a look at the other side just so you can see the hole again. So we're gonna bring it through this one right here. So that'll be perfect. We're gonna slide that through. We're gonna button it up real pretty. And then we're gonna leave the wires loose on this end so we can individually wrap them once they are ran to where they're going to go, and we'll take it from there. Okay, a little trick for you guys. You could take a wire hanger, welding rod, or some sort of solid material, connect it to your harness that's wrapped up, and then you'll be able to pull it up and through without having to spend hours trying to jam it through a hole that you can't see. So, yep, that's it. We're gonna slide this through and take it from there. And there we have it, pulled all the way through with the wire method. Oh, and that's the new starter that's gonna go in, of course, when we're ready to start. But you pull the rest of it out of there to a nice comfortable point, and then we're going to start adding it in across there, and yeah, that ought to do it. Okay, so tell me that doesn't look better. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using this one for ignition switch, and this one down here for constant power. I'm going to block these two off, and then the only thing I'm going to run is for the fuel pump, which should actually be simple enough, and take it from there. I'm going to get these two items in the engine compartment, and I'm going to show you exactly where and how to get it. So let's step over to the front of the car. Okay, so we're at the front of the car. All right, and what we need is constant power, which we can get it from here, and ignition switch, continuous power, from the black wire with the white stripe. This one is for the coil originally, for the positive side, and this will give you continuous power to the coil during start and anything you're doing with it on the on and start position. So that's exactly what we need, and that's exactly what we're going to run those wires to. And as you can see, the harness is right over here, and everything we need and we're going to use and connect to is right over here. So we'll just take it from there and actually run it that way. All right, so let's get the wiring harness put up neatly against the firewall, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so let me explain to you what's been done, and we will take it from there. So the new engine harness is ran. That is completely ran out there to the engine bay. We're going to take a look at that in a second. We also have this plug, which tells the computer when to fire the injectors. That goes to negative VE, which is the negative side of the coil, which is technically an RPM signal. So we're going to get that. That's already ran. Then we have the vacuum line, because the computer has a built-in map sensor, so you don't need an external map sensor. And it's pre-programmable up to 40 PSI, which we shouldn't need in this application, but it's there just in case. So this is the area which used to have a whole bunch of stuff everywhere. I still need to find the cover for this, and I still have to wrap up all of these wires individually and take it from there, but it's looking good. I got everything capped off that's not going to be used, and it's very simplified as far as engine harness. And of course, we're going to hook up the relay to the fuel pump, and that'll turn on with the key, so there's no issues with that. So let's check out the engine bay. All right. So we have the engine harness, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to wrap it, and some of the wires I'm going to have to extend depending on what sensor I'm going to be connecting it to. But I'm not going to remove any of these, and I'm not going to cut any of these wires. They'll be individually wrapped depending on where they're going, and extended, because one of the wires are going to go to the coil over here, over here, over here. So it'll be no big deal, you know, from that point on. But the map sensor that was in there is now out, and now we have that vacuum going into the cabin for the new map sensor. This one is window washer, which is not on the hood, or excuse me, not connected. So we're gonna leave that as is. This is the wire for the negative VE, so that's gonna be connected nice and pretty. We have all of our sensors here and ready. If anything needs to be extended, it will be. But until then, everything is connected good. We also have the fuel injectors connected. Those are the ones that were tested. They checked out 100% working, exactly the way they should. They've been brought up to 80 PSI, no big deal. And they handled it like a pro. So those injectors are good to go. So stay tuned, there's a lot more to go. Okay, so we are ready to take out the old and slide in the new. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take loose the return. This is from the engine, this is to the tank, and we're gonna put it from the engine and to the tank there. So that makes it super simple. And then once we get the car started or primed, we'll put base pressure at 40 PSI, but it is going to change as soon as we add the vacuum here. And how I like to add the vacuum is straight from the intake manifold to make sure that you get the full fluctuation of a pressure increase with boost instead of just having it on the pipe, for instance. So here you get a vacuum behind the throttle plate. Here you don't. So it'll be base pressure 40 and only goes up with boost. This one gives me both. It'll be vacuum, so we bring it back up to 40, and then when it goes 0 pounds of boost, it'll go higher, and then when it goes full throttle and starts receiving boost, it goes even higher than that. So that gives you full fluctuation of fuel, and that's exactly what you want. So that's how it's going to be put together. Okay, she is connected. Fluid filled gauge, everything is connected on and tight. We're gonna let the sealant here dry before we prime it and adjust it to 40 PSI, and we will be good to go. We can now mount this, I'm thinking right in this area, which would be perfect. So you can see everything that's going on and take it from there. And with that being said, we're gonna call it a video right there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely join me for the next episode. It's gonna be more wiring, but interesting nonetheless. But, you know, if this is the type of content that you like to watch, definitely consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon for updated notifications. But until then, I will definitely see you guys in the next episode. And remember, knowledge is power.